Hey everyone, let's dive right into today's explainer because we are unpacking what is honestly one of the most legendary management studies out there. We're breaking down Jim Collins' absolute classic, Good to Great. Now, this isn't just some random collection of theories. It's a deeply researched blueprint that literally separates truly unstoppable organizations from the ones that are, well, just average. We're going to break down exactly how this blueprint comes together, so let's get into it.
So this entire study actually kicked off thanks to a conversation Jim Collins had with a McKinsey executive. And that chat sparked the ultimate business question. Can a good company actually become a great company? And if so, how do you even do it? Because at the time, people just assumed that great companies were born great. They had excellent lineage, and if you were just a good company, you were pretty much destined to stay that way. To figure out the truth, Collins and his team at Stanford University launched a massive 5-year research project to find the companies that defied the odds.
And you have to hear this number, 11. Out of over 1,400 Fortune 500 companies they analyzed, over a 30-year period, only an elite 11 actually made the cut. We are not talking about companies that just had a lucky quarter or a good year. To make this list, a company had to show a sustained, long-term transition from good to great. I'm talking about beating the general stock market by an average of 7 times over 15 years. That's more than double the results of legendary giants like Coca-Cola or GE at the time. It's just wild.
So here is our roadmap for today. We're covering 1. Level 5 leadership, 2. First who, then what, 3. The Stockdale paradox, 4. The hedgehog concept, 5. The flywheel effect, and then we'll wrap it all up in the conclusion. Okay, starting with block 1, level 5 leadership, which is the absolute foundation of greatness. Whenever we think about massive corporate turnarounds, we usually picture this larger-than-life celebrity CEO coming in to save the day, right? Well, the research found the exact opposite. Every single one of these elite companies was led by what Collins calls a level 5 leader. These are people who combine extreme personal humility with this incredibly intense professional will. They are fiercely ambitious, absolutely, but that ambition is channeled entirely into the company, not their own egos. Take Darman Smith, for example. He was the CEO of Kimberly-Clark for 20 years. He was shy, kind of awkward, and literally described himself as just a farm boy. But he had the steely resolve to radically redefine his company, and he ended up crushing rivals like Procter & Gamble. Contrast that with the genius with 1,000 helpers. That's your typical egocentric leader who drives everything through sheer force of personality. The problem is, the second that genius leaves, the company falls apart. Level 5 leaders, though, they're busy setting up their successors to do even better.
Moving right along to block 2, first who, then what, getting on the bus.
This principle is a total game changer because it completely flips how most of us think about strategy. The leaders who ignited these massive transformations didn't figure out where to drive the company bus and then go look for passengers. Nope. They got the right people on the bus, they got the wrong people off the bus, and then, and only then, did they figure out where to drive it. Why? Because if you have the right people, they can adapt to anything. A brilliant vision means absolutely nothing if you don't have the right team. And here's a super interesting twist. The researchers totally assumed that executive compensation would be the magic bullet for greatness, but they were dead wrong. The right people do the best work because of their own inner drive, not because of some fancy incentive package. The only real purpose of compensation is just to get and keep the right people on the bus in the first place. So it really makes you think, are you hiring for inner drive or just checking boxes for technical skills?
Next up is block 3. The Stockdale paradox, the mindset of greatness.
To really wrap our heads around the emotional weight of this, we need to talk about the unbelievable survival story of Admiral Jim Stockdale. He was the highest-ranking U.S. military officer held in the infamous Hanoi Hilton prisoner of war camp during Vietnam. He was locked up for 8 years. He was repeatedly tortured, he had no prisoner's rights, no release date, and frankly, no real reason to think he'd even survive. But despite all of that, he never once lost absolute faith that he would not only get out, but that he would prevail and turn the horror into the defining moment of his life.
And this perfectly captures the incredible duality you have to maintain as a leader. It's what Collins named the Stockdale paradox. On one hand, you absolutely must maintain unwavering faith that you are going to win in the end. But at the exact same time, you have to have the supreme discipline to confront the most brutal, awful facts of your current reality. When Collins asked Admiral Stockdale, who didn't make it out of the camp, Stockdale's answer was chilling. He said, Oh, that's easy. The optimists. The optimists were the guys saying, we'll be out by Christmas. And then Christmas would come and go. Then Easter. Then Thanksgiving. And eventually, they just died of a broken heart. You cannot confuse blind optimism with the discipline needed to face reality head-on.
All right, on to block 4, the hedgehog concept, the strategy of simplicity. This idea actually comes from an ancient Greek parable. The idea is that the world is divided into foxes and hedgehogs. The fox is cunning, right? It's always coming up with these complex, flashy new strategies to attack its prey. But the hedgehog is this simple, almost clumsy little creature that only knows how to do one big thing. It just rolls up into a spiky ball. And guess what? No matter how clever the fox is, the hedgehog wins every single time. The companies that went from good to great operated exactly like hedgehogs. The comparison companies, the ones that ultimately failed, acted like foxes. They were totally scattered, chasing new shiny objects, and lacked any real consistency. So, finding your own hedgehog concept means you have to find the exact sweet spot where 3 distinct circles intersect. First, what are you deeply passionate about? Second, what drives your economic engine? You have to figure out that single metric like profit per X that has the biggest impact. And third, what can you be the best in the world at? And listen, this is absolutely crucial. It is not about what you want to be the best at. It's a brutally honest look at what you actually can be the best at. If you can't be the best in the world at your core business, it cannot be your hedgehog concept, period. And just a heads up, it takes companies an average of 4 years to figure this out, so it's definitely a process.
Finally, block 5, the flywheel effect, execution and momentum.
I want you to visualize something with me. Picture a massive, heavy metal disc. It's 30 feet across and weighs 5,000 pounds. Your job is to get this thing spinning. So you start pushing with literally everything you have, and at first, it barely even moves an inch. Well, greatness in business works the exact same way. The media loves to sell us on this idea of an overnight success, a single defining action, or a lucky break. But the data shows that is a total myth. There is no miracle moment.
Instead, the process is all about relentless, compounding effort. You push, you get 1 full turn. You keep pushing in the exact same direction. 3 turns, 10 turns, 50 turns. Slowly, the flywheel starts to build speed. Every single push compounds on the effort of the last one. And then, at some point, whoosh, you hit a breakthrough. The sheer weight of that massive flywheel starts working for you, hurling the company forward with this unstoppable momentum. If someone asked you, hey, which specific push made it go so fast, you wouldn't be able to answer. It was the cumulative effect of 1,000 tiny, aligned actions.
Which brings us to Section 6, our conclusion and the blueprint realized.
So as you step back, you see how these 5 principles lock together perfectly. You start with level 5 leaders to build the foundation. They get the right people on the bus. Then that team adopts the Stockdale paradox, keeping the faith while facing brutal facts. That clarity leads them straight to their hedgehog concept. And by relentlessly executing that concept day after day, they spin the flywheel until they hit breakthrough momentum. The biggest takeaway here is incredibly empowering. Greatness doesn't just happen to people. It's not about being in the right place at the right time. It is a matter of conscious choice and serious discipline.
If you're getting value out of this explainer and want to keep spinning your own flywheel, make sure to hit that subscribe button for the Edge Library channel. We are all about bringing you visually engaging breakdowns of the most powerful ideas out there. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final question to chew on today. Take a real look at your own organization or team. Are you guys just settling for good, or are you actually making the conscious, disciplined choices to build for great? Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.